In 2025, under the Trump administration, immigration has once again become one of the most hotly debated topics in American politics. With new executive orders, visa restrictions, and enhanced border control, everyone seems to be talking about who is allowed into the country and under what conditions. But amid all the political noise, one key distinction often gets lost in the conversation. A distinction that's not just about policy, but about language itself. That distinction is between immigration and emigration. While they may sound similar, these two terms have very different meanings and implications. And if you're someone planning to move abroad, studying international policies, or simply trying to stay informed, understanding the difference isn't just helpful, it's essential. Let's start with the basics. The word immigration refers to the act of entering a foreign country with the intention of living there permanently or for an extended period of time. It focuses on the movement into a new land from the perspective of the receiving country. For example, when someone arrives in the United States to live, work, or study, they are considered an immigrant in the eyes of the U.S. government. Immigration policies are designed to control and regulate this flow of people coming into the country. This is the aspect that receives the most attention in political discussions, especially under administrations with stricter border control measures, like that of Donald Trump in 2025. On the other hand, emigration refers to the act of leaving one's home country to settle somewhere else. This term is understood from the perspective of the origin country, the one someone is moving away from. For example, when a person decides to move abroad for better job opportunities or education, their home country considers them an emigrant. It's the beginning of a journey toward a new destination. While immigration is about arrival, emigration is about departure. Same journey, different perspective. To make it even easier to remember, immigration means in, while emigration means exit. One letter makes all the difference, but that single letter also shifts the entire viewpoint, from the destination country to the country of origin. And in 2025, this linguistic distinction holds real-life consequences, especially under the Trump administration's hardline immigration stance. Now, why does this matter in today's political climate? Because most of the legal systems, security checks, and visa policies are built around the concept of immigration. The U.S. government is primarily concerned with who is coming in, not who is going out of other countries. That's why policies, interviews, screenings, and background checks are all focused on the process of immigration. Under Trump's leadership, the administration has introduced additional layers of scrutiny for immigrants, including mandatory social media history checks, increased interview requirements, and strict evaluations of financial stability. These rules don't apply to immigrants. That's not America's jurisdiction. What matters to the U.S. is who wants to come in and whether or not they meet the new standards. For instance, let's imagine someone decides to move to the United States for a better education and long-term employment. From the perspective of their home country, they are emigrating. That nation might record this departure in statistics about brain drain or skilled labor loss. However, from the U.S. perspective, that same person is immigrating and thus becomes subject to American immigration laws. Under the Trump 2025 framework, this individual must now pass through a rigorous screening process, including biometric checks, visa interviews, and potentially long wait times. Their entire future might hinge on how their immigration file is perceived by U.S. authorities. Whether they get approved or denied has nothing to do with where they came from. It's all about whether they're deemed suitable to enter. And this is where the public confusion often begins. Media outlets, politicians, and even everyday people frequently use the terms immigrant and emigrant interchangeably. But doing so clouds the issue, and makes it harder to understand who is being affected by policy changes. Under Trump's administration, when news headlines announce a crackdown on immigration, they are talking about people trying to enter the U.S., not those who are leaving their countries. Immigration policies are handled by each country independently. Immigration, however, is where Trump's legal machinery gets activated. In fact, many of the challenges faced by newcomers today stem directly from being labeled as immigrants. It's this identity that triggers background investigations, eligibility checks, and even surveillance. Once someone is categorized as an immigrant under U.S. law, they must comply with a host of requirements, some of which have become even more difficult under the 2025 executive orders. For example, recent policy updates now require visa applicants to prove that they won't become a public charge. That is, someone who relies on government assistance. This rule is now being enforced more strictly, and it targets immigrants, not emigrants. Let's dig deeper into why this distinction plays such a major role in global mobility today. People emigrate for many reasons: better jobs, safer environments, family reunification, or academic opportunities. But once they arrive at their new destination, they become immigrants. And depending on the host country's rules, especially under conservative leadership, their journey can either be smooth or filled with bureaucratic obstacles. In 2025, Trump's policies have prioritized national security, meaning all immigrants are viewed through a lens of suspicion until proven otherwise. This includes comprehensive vetting procedures, extended waiting times, and more frequent denials, even for applicants with strong profiles. Here's another angle to consider. Emigration doesn't typically carry the same political heat as immigration. That's because countries usually don't block people from leaving, unless for security or legal reasons. But immigration? That's where the political firestorm begins. It's tied to border walls, refugee bans, employment laws, and voting demographics. And under Trump's America, immigration is not just a legal process, it's a statement of national identity. The administration has made it clear, only the right kind of immigrants are welcome. And this filters out thousands of potential newcomers who might otherwise qualify under more lenient governments. So what does this mean for you or someone you know who's planning to move to the U.S.? First, it's important to understand that immigration is not just about crossing borders. It's about crossing into a new legal category that comes with obligations, expectations, and risks. Once you step into that role, you're on the radar of a government system designed to control access tightly. Whether your intent is study, work, or family reunification, the current administration will scrutinize every aspect of your background. This includes education history, financial records, and even social media behavior. A single post or a missing document can lead to rejection. That's the reality of immigration in 2025. Meanwhile, emigration remains relatively straightforward. People decide to leave their country and look for better futures abroad. They may sell property, resign from jobs, or say goodbye to family. But once they reach their new destination, the rules change completely. Now, they're immigrants, outsiders trying to fit into a system that wasn't built for them. And depending on the host country, that transition can be either empowering or exhausting. In summary, the difference between immigration and emigration is not just grammatical, legal, and political. Immigration refers to entering a country. Emigration refers to leaving one. The former is governed by the policies of the destination country. The latter is governed by the policies of the origin country. And in today's political landscape, especially under President Trump's 2025 administration, immigration is the battlefield. It's where laws are being rewritten, lives are being evaluated, and futures are being decided. Emigration, while important, doesn't carry the same level of control or controversy. It's the starting point, but immigration is where the real fight begins. So next time you hear someone talk about people moving from one country to another, listen carefully. Are they talking about immigration or emigration? Because one term means entrance, and the other means exit. One brings you under the jurisdiction of your new home. The other marks your departure. Knowing the difference might just help you understand the world and your own journey a little better.